We're going to be discussing how to be an empathetic remote coworker. Excuse me. So the article starts with saying, days before the global novel coronavirus outbreak, we were sitting in meetings with coworkers, laughing with peers over lunch, and maybe even gearing up for a big presentation in front of the boss. Now, most of us are working from home in self-isolation with no clear end in sight. Few could have predicted or prepared for how much life and work as we knew it would change in a matter of weeks. Research by Joseph Grenny and David Maxfield found that virtual teammates are 2.5 times more likely to perceive mistrust, incompetence, broken commitments, and bad decision making with distant colleagues than those who are co-located. Worse, they report that 5 to 10 times longer to address their concerns. Moreover, this does not account for working in the midst of a global health crisis. Greeny goes on to share that in order to address this issue, the key is creating safety. When people feel safe, they open up. When they don't, they shut down. People only feel safe enough to venture into dicey dialogue when those around them generate sufficient positive evidence of their intentions and respect. The question is, how do we build this safety and respect given our current circumstances and now that nearly everyone is working remotely? Over the last several years, I have been running virtual training for leaders at organizations like Salesforce and UNICEF, whose team members are dispensed across different locations, time zones, and cultures. In the program, we talk about how to ensure our people feel valued and appreciated, regardless of where they are located, no matter if they are sitting next to you at work, across town, or are based halfway around the world. The most important thing to understand is that it is impossible to build a strong relationship with someone we never interact with. Here are a few ways to be a respectful coworker in times like the ones we're finding ourselves in. Understand what each person is dealing with at home. Excuse me. Although everyone is facing the same threat, not everyone is facing the same circumstances. With most schools and daycares closed, parents are forced to juggle fulfilling their work obligations with caring for their kids in a confined space. Others are cut off from family and friends alone, working and living in complete self-isolation. Show your peers you care by taking time to understand what they are dealing with each day. If you have not already reached out to your coworkers, find out how they are coping and how you can best support them. Take time to understand the following about your colleagues. That kind of day, huh? Okay. How are they feeling mentally and physically with the current situation? Do they live alone? Are they away from family and friends? Do they have any social support? Do they have kids, siblings, roommates, or elderly parents that they are sharing a space with? Do they have the ability to work during the day? Or are they trying to get things done when home is quieter at night? Do they have the resources and support to stay in self-isolation? Do they have access to shops, food, and internet where they are? We don't know how someone is doing until we take the time to ask, and it is important to remember that just because someone was doing well yesterday does not mean they are doing the same today. Okay, so we can already tell from the introduction that this article was written back in the, sounds like the early on stage, We can already tell that this article was written back in the early stages of the coronavirus, but I still do like the suggestion that is given as far as how to be an empathetic remote coworker. I think that's very important. Although our main focus might not be, or we might not be as focused on COVID-19 right now, but I still do think it is important to be empathetic because, as this article just mentioned, each person is dealing with something different at their home. So it is nice to know what their conditions are. And again, keeping in mind that yesterday is not today, right? And so these are kind of like those peer groups that are created based on similarities, right? So you kind of bond and reach out. You might not reach out to every one of your coworkers, but just those few that you do feel drawn to, you want to be sure to reach out to them. Okay. It mentions to stay in touch daily. The challenge is when people are based remotely, they often fall into out of sight, out of mind. When this is the case, managers and colleagues alike often make the mistake of only connecting with people when there is a problem or if they need something. Now more than ever, we need to get into the habit of checking in daily with our peers. This may be a simple text like, "Hey John, how are you and your family doing? Is everyone okay?" Or, "I know yesterday you were feeling a little bit down. How are you feeling today?" If needed, set up a longer call or virtual coffee to talk through any challenges or just stay connected. Regardless, show people you care by remembering that they are there. Okay. I definitely practice this, and I do believe that, with your colleagues, you should stay in touch. For if the organization is larger and it might be kind of tough to stay in touch daily, you want to stay in touch weekly, depending on how often you interact with your colleague. So, but you definitely I never liked the statement. My stepdad used to say that statement all the time: out of sight, out of mind. And I felt like it was the worst. And I still do feel that way now. People want to be seen. And when you're seen, then you're valuable, so sometimes checking in with someone, you never know what they're going through. So checking in with someone could be exactly what they need. Okay. So whenever you think about your colleague, just go ahead and reach out to them. Okay. Because people are going through a lot each and every day, regardless of it being COVID-19. Life can bring a lot of challenges that having someone understand you can make a world of a difference. All right. So then the next tip they offer is make it safe to ask for help. Offer help to others at every opportunity. Also show others it is okay to ask for help by doing it yourself. For example, you could reach out to a colleague with, "I am struggling to stay focused when working from home. Would it be okay if I checked in a few times a day? It would really make a difference for me." By asking for help for ourselves, it supports others to feel safe to do the same. And that's totally true. Finding that buddy that you can work with, because again, working from home can be very polarizing. It can be very isolating. I even have to catch myself. I make a to-do of making sure I go out at least for the weekend, because you can get really caught up in just staying in the house, and so we want to make sure that you do support each other and you're there for each other. And, it's important, it really is important. The next tip that they offer is be forgiving and patient. If you or your colleague turns in a report late, send an email without CCing you, or makes a mistake, remember to be forgiving and patient. We are all managing an increased cognitive load as we adapt to a new way of living and working. And it is inevitable mistakes will happen. Instead of chastising someone for dropping the ball, take time to check in. For example, "Maria, I noticed that you have not turned in your report yet. I wanted to check in and see how you and your family are doing. Is there anything I can do to help?" Whether we are in a crisis or not, how we respond when people make a mistake has a profound impact on whether or not they feel safe when they are around us. 100% true. Even being in management, when I am checking in on an agent, I do it from a space of checking in, not chastising. So, because again, you do not know what people are going through, and it is always best, because we cannot see each other. Even if you can see each other, you still don't know what people are going through, right? So you always want to give the benefit of the doubt, right? And understand that I tell when I do speak to people, what I say is, the assumption should be that everyone is here to do a great job for work. No one is coming to work expecting to not do a great job. Even if you're frustrated with the job, in the back of your mind, the fact that you showed up is because you want to be at work that day. Whether your motivation is to get paid, or your motivation is because you want to help people, or your motivation is you want to be with others, whatever your motivation is, it doesn't matter. The fact that you showed up means you want to do a great enough job to be there, right? So I always go in with the mindset that if I'm reaching out to you, I know you want to be here. And so I don't come in just expecting to chastise you. It is best to ask how you are doing versus why are you doing. Asking why in any way. I learned this was like one of the first lessons I learned about communication, is that whenever you ask the word why, it automatically creates a defensive reaction. Why is a very, very challenging word. It's like it challenges your intellect, challenges your intuition, it challenges you. So instead, it's best to say, what is the reason that you did that? Is everything okay? Can I help you? I noticed XYZ, rather than why did you do this? Why are you saying that? It's better to inquire differently. Why always brings about a defensive response every single time. Now that I've said it, you'll notice it. All right, so then another point that the author makes is make it okay to not be perfect, right? Messy hair, messy house, and background noise. Make it okay for people to not be perfect by acknowledging it up front in your meetings. Also, when you share, you don't have it all together. It supports others to do the same. I practice apologizing, because I'm not perfect. Yes, I've gotten a ton of promotions, but not because I'm perfect. It's because I'm transparent, I over communicate, and I'm a merit-based worker, right? So I can be relied on, I'm dependable, those things. But am I perfect? Absolutely not. If I find that I am not where or reply where you think I am, or reply if I do not reply in a timely manner, I am quick to say, I'm sorry, I was doing X, Y, Z. Right. So then that way I am building trust and letting them know that I value your time. I value your presence. I see you, and I want you to know that I care about you. Right. All right. So then the next suggestion that they give is share resources and self-care ideas. Trusted coworkers share resources with each other. Did you have a fun indoor activity? Discover a list of what businesses are still open in your area, or develop a great self-care routine. Share it with your peers via chat, email, or in your next virtual meeting. Support each other by helping to find the support they need. It says, and I want to read this, it says, anxiety is through the roof and people are scared. So you have to use every tool in the tool bag to care for yourself. If you don't already, use any counseling or therapy services your insurance provider may offer. Many are now providing video chat options that are covered. This is exactly the time to leverage something like this. Yes, you want to share. A lot of times, it helps to share pictures of what you did do over the weekend, even though another person may not engage in that. But sharing the things that you were doing, it just connects you because of the fact that we don't see each other in person while we're working from home. I like to discuss food. Oftentimes I'm going to the chat asking what everybody's eating because everyone knows I'm always hungry, right? So there's different things that you can do just to bond and connect with each other, make each other laugh and smile, and know that it's going to be okay no matter what you're facing. And we all are facing things. It's going to be okay. All right. Nurture a culture of gratitude. When we flood our minds with constant flow of worry, self-criticism, compound by a barrage of news and other media, it impacts our mental well-being. Help nurture a culture of gratitude with your peers by always expressing your appreciation when people join a meeting, finish a task, or reach out to offer support. Consider initiating a team gratitude practice by starting and finishing each day with a question. What are you most grateful for today? What made you smile today? What did I take for granted in the past that I now really appreciate? I haven't tried those questions, but I love that. I love those questions. I do a lot of compliments. I like to compliment when you think I'm not paying attention, right? So for the smallest things that I notice that you're doing to assist the team, I definitely want to shout those things out, because we being appreciative, and it helps being appreciative and saying thank you. It just shows that you are like, it shows the other person that you value them, and that they are valuable, right? And so I make sure always to nurture a culture of gratitude. That is definitely, I mentioned when I was working from home for one company, that I would always tag everything as thank you twice, right, on the end, because of the fact that the more gratitude, my beliefs, the more gratitude you practice, the more things to be grateful for you attract. Okay. So saying thank you to others will in turn, the universe, in my opinion, will bring to you things that you are thankful for. All right. So then have fun. Just because you're not sitting next to each other does not mean you can't laugh and play together. Infuse your chats with texts, emails, and virtual meetings with games, memes, and personal reflection. Host a virtual happy hour after work one day. Bring a little laughter, fun, and joy to each other's day. Yes, definitely yes. If you want to be a respectful coworker during this challenging time, show your peers you care by taking time to understand their world. Stay in touch and find ways to offer support. If we do, we may just come out off on the other side of this health crisis closer and more connected to our coworkers. Absolutely. I totally love this article. I am all about being there for people and supporting people in ways that you may not necessarily, just small ways that you can do, small things, that you can do in order to show people that you care and that they matter. And it is important to do that, because we are all going through very, very challenging things each and every day. And so sometimes you asking those questions, you reaching out and doing those things you might be the only person that day that showed that you cared, and that is strong and powerful. And there are little things that you can do that don't cost you anything, right? They're just a moment and blip in time. It does not decrease productivity. It actually increases it for your peer as well as for your team, and then which is overall good for the company and their bottom line. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful, fantastic day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Hello, my name is Kendra, the official business renovator. Thank you for joining my channel today, and I hope that you enjoy the content today. Feel free to like, comment, and share the video, as well as subscribe so that you can get notifications for when I release new content. Also, click the link in the bio for more products from me, as I recently released the book, The Great Promotion, and I discuss how I got promoted 4 times in 6 months and received a bonus while working from home.